After Jacob returned to the land of Canaan, his family settled again among the hills and valleys of the land God had promised. Over the years, Jacob's household grew larger, louder, and more complex. His youngest son, Benjamin, had been born, and now Jacob had 12 sons in total. Each son was different, with his own personality, strengths, and weaknesses. But among them all, one son stood out. His name was Joseph. Joseph was the son of Rachel, the woman Jacob loved deeply. Rachel had waited many years to have a child, and when Joseph was born, Jacob's heart was filled with joy. Joseph was also born when Jacob was older, and that made him even more precious in his father's eyes. Joseph was thoughtful, kind, and obedient. He tried to do what was right, even when it was hard. Because of this, Jacob loved Joseph more openly than he loved his other sons. To show his love, Jacob made Joseph a special coat. It was beautiful and carefully made, different from the simple clothes worn by his brothers. Every time Joseph wore that coat, it reminded everyone that he was favored. And that is where the trouble began. Joseph's brothers noticed the special treatment. They saw the coat. They saw the attention. They felt overlooked and forgotten. Jealousy began to grow in their hearts like a seed planted in bad soil. Instead of talking honestly, they allowed anger to take root. They did not speak kindly to Joseph. One day, Joseph came to his brothers with something on his mind. He had experienced a dream, and it felt important to him. He did not yet understand how his words would sound to others. He said, "Listen to this dream I had. We were all in the field tying up bundles of grain. Suddenly, my bundle stood up straight, and your bundles gathered around it and bowed down." The brothers stared at him in disbelief. "So you think you will rule over us?" they asked angrily. "Do you think we will bow down to you?" Joseph did not mean to insult them, but his words only made things worse. A few days later, Joseph had another dream. Again, he shared it. This time, he said, "I saw the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowing down to me." This dream upset his brothers even more. They felt mocked and threatened. Their hatred grew stronger. They refused to speak to him kindly at all. But Jacob, their father, reacted differently. Although he gently corrected Joseph for speaking so openly, Jacob quietly thought about the dreams. Something about them stayed with him. He wondered if God was sending a message. Time passed. One day, Joseph's brothers took the family flocks far away to graze. They were gone longer than expected. Jacob became concerned and asked Joseph to go check on them and bring back news. Joseph obeyed. He put on his special coat and set out alone across the land. The journey was long and tiring, but Joseph kept going. When he finally found his brothers in the distance, they saw him coming. And when they saw that coat, their hearts hardened. "Look," they said to one another, "here comes the dreamer." Anger rose quickly. "Let's kill him," some of them said. "Then we'll see what becomes of his dreams." But one brother, Reuben, felt a deep sense of pity. He knew that killing Joseph would be wrong. Quietly, he suggested a different plan. "Let's not kill him," Reuben said. "Let's throw him into that empty pit instead." Reuben hoped that later, when the others were gone, he could rescue Joseph and return him safely to their father. The brothers agreed. They grabbed Joseph, stripped him of his special coat, and threw him into the pit. The pit was deep and dark, and there was no water inside. Joseph cried out, but his brothers ignored him. Then, unbelievably, they sat down to eat. As they were eating, a group of merchants appeared on the road nearby. They were Midianite traders traveling to Egypt. One of the brothers had an idea. "Why should we kill our brother?" he said. "Let's sell him instead. He is our brother, after all." The idea sounded good to them, so they pulled Joseph out of the pit and sold him for 20 pieces of silver. The merchants took Joseph away, bound and afraid, heading toward Egypt. Joseph looked back one last time, hoping for mercy, but his brothers turned away. Joseph was alone. Later, the brothers took Joseph's special coat, killed a goat, and dipped the coat in its blood. When they returned home, they showed it to their father. "This is what we found," they said. Jacob recognized the coat immediately. "My son's coat," he cried. "A wild animal must have killed him." Jacob was overcome with grief. He tore his clothes and mourned for many days. No one could comfort him. He believed Joseph was dead, and the pain broke his heart. But Joseph was not dead. He was on his way to Egypt. Though Joseph felt abandoned and afraid, God had not forgotten him. The dreams Joseph had seen were not meaningless. They were messages from God, promises that would take many years to understand. What Joseph's brothers meant for harm, God would one day turn into good. This was only the beginning of Joseph's journey, a journey of pain, faith, and purpose. And the God who speaks through dreams was still at work. Joseph's journey to Egypt was long and frightening. The merchants walked quickly, urging their camels forward. Joseph's hands were bound, and his heart felt heavier with every step away from his home. The familiar hills of Canaan slowly disappeared behind him. The voices of his brothers, once loud with anger, were now gone. What remained was silence and fear. Joseph had never been this far from his father, never this alone. At night, when the merchants rested, Joseph lay awake beneath the stars. They were the same stars he had seen back home, the same stars his father once spoke of when telling stories of Abraham and God's promises. Joseph wondered if those promises still included him. He wondered if God could see him now. His dreams came back to his mind, the sheaves bowing in the field, the sun, moon, and stars bending low. They felt impossible now. How could a slave's dreams ever come true? When they reached Egypt, everything felt different. The land was busy and loud. Tall buildings rose where Joseph had known only tents. The language sounded strange. The people dressed differently. The smell of the city, spices, animals, sweat, and smoke filled the air. Joseph was sold again. This time he was bought by an Egyptian officer named Potiphar, the captain of Pharaoh's guard. Potiphar was powerful and respected. Joseph was brought into his house, not knowing what his future would hold. At first, Joseph was afraid, but slowly something remarkable happened. Joseph worked faithfully. He listened, he learned. He did not complain. Even in a foreign land, even as a servant, Joseph chose to do what was right, and God was with him. Everything Joseph touched began to prosper. Potiphar noticed. Fields produced more. The household ran smoothly. Business improved. Soon Potiphar trusted Joseph so completely that he put him in charge of everything he owned. Joseph went from prisoner to overseer, but favor often attracts trouble. Potiphar's wife noticed Joseph. He was young, capable, and respected. She began to speak to him in ways that were not right. Day after day, she tempted him, but Joseph refused. "How could I do such a wicked thing?" he said. "It would be a sin against God." One day when no one else was in the house, she grabbed him. Joseph fled, leaving his cloak behind. Anger filled her heart. She accused Joseph falsely, claiming he had wronged her. Potiphar believed her. Joseph was thrown into prison. Once again, everything Joseph had worked for seemed lost. The cold walls of the prison reminded Joseph of the pit his brothers had thrown him into years before. Darkness surrounded him again. Chains replaced freedom. Silence replaced hope. But even there, God was with him. The prison keeper noticed Joseph's integrity. Soon Joseph was placed in charge of the other prisoners. Once again, responsibility found him in the most unlikely place. Time passed. Two of Pharaoh's officials, the cupbearer and the baker, were imprisoned there. One night, both men had troubling dreams. When Joseph saw their sadness the next morning, he asked what was wrong. They told him about their dreams. Joseph listened carefully. "Interpretations belong to God," Joseph said. "Tell me your dreams." Joseph explained that the cupbearer would be restored to his position, but the baker would be executed. Everything happened exactly as Joseph had said. Before the cupbearer left prison, Joseph asked him for one thing. "Please remember me," Joseph said. "Tell Pharaoh about me." The cupbearer promised, but he forgot. 2 long years passed. Then one night, Pharaoh himself had dreams, strange dreams that troubled his spirit. None of Egypt's wise men could explain them. Suddenly, the cupbearer remembered Joseph. Pharaoh sent for him at once. Joseph stood before Pharaoh, no longer in prison clothes but cleaned and prepared. Pharaoh told him the dreams. Joseph listened quietly. "This is not my wisdom," Joseph said. "God will give Pharaoh the answer." Joseph explained that Egypt would have 7 years of abundance, followed by 7 years of severe famine. He advised Pharaoh to prepare wisely. Pharaoh was amazed. "Can we find anyone like this man?" Pharaoh said. "In whom is the Spirit of God?" That very day, Pharaoh placed Joseph in authority over all Egypt, second only to himself. The boy sold by his brothers became ruler over a nation. Years later, when famine spread across the land, Jacob sent his sons to Egypt to buy grain. They stood before Joseph, older now, powerful, unrecognizable to them, and they bowed down. Joseph remembered his dreams, but instead of revenge, Joseph chose mercy. He tested their hearts, he watched their growth, and when the time was right, Joseph revealed himself. "I am Joseph," he said. Fear filled their faces, but Joseph wept. "You meant evil against me," he said, "but God meant it for good." Jacob was brought to Egypt. Tears of joy replaced years of sorrow. What was broken was restored, and Joseph finally understood. The dreams were never about power. They were about purpose. God had been writing a story far bigger than pain, and he still does.